I mean, it'll be fine. It's going to be okay, Joel. No one's going to talk crazy at all.
I see a full send coming.
No, I'm not going to. I'll be fine. Welcome to Practice Shooting After Dark. My name is Ben. We're here to talk about shooting. On deck tonight, Mr. Matt Hopkins.
Hi, everybody.
And Mrs. Joel Park.
Hello.
Hello.
Very mean, Ben.
You're right. I don't mean to shame you, Joel. However you choose to identify is fine by me.
Uh-huh.
Obviously. 100%. All right. So, what do we got to talk about, Joel? Don't you have something in your hot little hands that I don't even have in my hands?
I do. It is a book. Yes, I have one and you don't.
Does it have pornographical materials in it?
Negative. It does not.
Not interested. All right, Hopkins.
Okay.
Just talking about, no, I'm just fucking around. Come on, Joel. Pimp your book. Be happy now.
Our book.
Well,
You helped
debatable.
somewhat. A little bit.
Debatable.
The debatable. What? So yes, match mentality's out. Okay, so here's my deal.
It is selling like lukewarm cakes, let me tell you, people.
Have you sold like 10 copies or something so far?
11.
8.
Oh, sweet.
Well, okay, here's my little spiel. Anything I basically do, whether it's on like this podcast, another podcast I'm on, some garbage you see me like posting on Instagram or this book, like I know it sounds cheesy, but like my goal is to create material that I wish I had 10 years ago and that I, didn't seek out, whatever. So I'm quite proud of the book. I think it turned out really well. And it's basically everything that goes into being effective at matches, except for the technical skills, the part where you're pressing the trigger. So how you prepare, how you deal with pressure, a lot of lessons Ben and I both learned the hard way. And maybe some lessons I learned the hard way over and over again until I finally changed. So anyway, I think it's quite good. I don't know. Matt, you've read through the book. What'd you think?
I thought it was really good, really interesting. I think some of the topics in there no one's kind of talked about for a while. So I think it was very good and very refreshing on that point.
Well,
Good.
I'm happy you're happy, Matt. And I would say, as the person who did maybe 8 or even 10% of the work for this book, I appreciate your kind words.
Who, me or you?
You. I did 8 or 10%.
Oh,
I appreciate your kind words.
sweet. Thank you. You're welcome, I guess.
That helped
Perfect.
quite a bit.
Any reviews up on it yet? Like on Amazon or whatever?
I haven't looked. I think there's at least one.
There's one, maybe one. One guy said it's necessary. I think he said what you said, Matt, but just more eloquently. You know what I mean?
It's
A
not-
well-written
I mean,
book
that's not
sharing.
that-
Yeah, I know. Well-written book sharing practical insights to utilize at any level of competition. My technical skills are fairly decent, but I see where I've been falling short. I believe this is the information I need to level up. Okay, cool.
Well, I would say, to add on that, I guess a little bit, there's, I think, a lot of people that I've talked to that are in the boat where they have technical skills. So in practice, they're able to do the thing. But then after, I can think of somebody I saw even just this past week where you get under pressure, and then you just wilt. You absolutely melt when, it comes down to it. You have to perform on demand. You get one try, and maybe the outcome is dependent on your actions, on just 1 or 2 stages. So not everyone can handle that pressure. So hopefully tips, guides, lesson learned the hard way, and ways to deal with that kind of pressure.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about the thing that people are talking about online. And I noticed it a lot the last couple days. But my God, people are making fun of USPSA for this 59-ounce weight limit in production and carry optics. Man, they're making fun of USPSA.
That's what I don't understand. Like, people don't have to go out and buy a 59-ounce gun just because that's the limit.
Why not?
Because it's not the, like, it might not
Well,
be the best for everybody.
let's just say this. So USPSA changed the rule. Okay, 59 ounces is the weight limit in production and CO. And let's just say this: effectively, there is no weight limit.
No, that's why they put it there.
I don't know why they even have a weight limit.
I have no idea either. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, IPSC production doesn't have a weight limit.
Right, but more
You're not
severely
allowed to
restricted
fuck
on
around with
parts.
a gun.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. You're not allowed to fuck with a gun, but they don't have a weight limit. So that was the major rule change that people were commenting on. There was a couple other ones. I think it's 500 guns in the country now to make production.
Yep.
And that looks, I mean, it looks to me, just kind of reading the tea leaves, like that was specifically to get Lago legal. Get the alien.
I didn't think about that.
They didn't shut up about it at SHOT Show that they were bringing in 500 pistols into the U.S. They didn't shut up about it. And my kind of the operating theory that guides me the last 3 years is if there's any enforcement action to be taken on the rules, like as far as enforcing production division rules, then USPSA just eliminates the rule that they need to enforce so they don't have to enforce it. Would that be fair, Matt? Like, you pay a lot of attention to this.
I think, yeah. I mean, that's
like a guy gets tripped up for having an illegal hammer, aftermarket parts, okay.
Yeah.
We don't want range officers to have to determine if a replacement slide stop is a slide stop or a thumb rest. So any replacement part, okay. Some guy doesn't make weight because of the 2 ounce limit. Then the 2 ounce limit goes to 4 ounces of differential in the weight. And now, we don't enforce that. So now we'll just essentially remove the weight limit. That's how it looks to me.
And playing devil's advocate a little bit. I mean, I understand, like, if some dude shows up with I shoot a Tanfo, so I'd be familiar with a CZ, and they show up, like, how am I supposed to know what hammer was OEM and what's
Joel, I'm so happy for you because you're parroting exactly the dumb shit that the guys at USPSA say.
That is the argument. Yes.
But why does the person have to know?
Matt, you are saying something that sounds goofy on the face of it, but it's actually 100% correct.
Yeah, but like, why would anybody expect any RO to know all that?
They don't. So the way that rule gets enforced is like your gun is
peer pressure.
Your gun is set up a certain way, and the upside for cheating essentially is very low, and the downside is real bad. It's real steep. So if you get popped once doing that, like, it's a major problem for you. So that's why I've been around a while. I did not see anybody intentionally shooting production guns. Like, I don't think I've ever seen that. Somebody have a part on their gun they know not to be legal. I've never actually seen that happen.
Well, especially with the way the internet is. Like, Ben, if you turn up to nationals and you have some hammer in your gun that you're not supposed to have, like, somebody's going to notice. They're going to take a picture. That's going to get online. So would it be fair to say the fear of that happening? I'm not saying that you don't have integrity, but the fear of that happening.
I don't have any, but yes, basically the fear of that happening is what stopped me doing it.
You do, you tool. But yes, the fear of that happening would keep people from doing things against the rules, would be my thoughts.
Right. Well, no, that's 100%. It's the same. Okay, so let's take that question, the same USPSA thinking, which we'll call it idiot thinking. So USPSA thinking, and apply that to a different situation. So you look at a competitor run a stage, like a field course. They run through there. Sometimes they're behind the wall. Sometimes they're not, whatever. You just stand there back and watch a guy shoot a stage. And the question for USPSA would be, how do I know that guy didn't DQ? The RO couldn't see him the whole time. How do I know he didn't?
How do you know he did?
No, you're not hearing me. I need to know if that guy DQ'd or not. I have to know if that run is legal. And I just watched his run, and I can't tell you if he DQ'd or not.
Then you have to default that he did not.
Well, sure, but I mean, you see the thinking here, right? Like, USPSA thinking is they have to look at, like, I need the RO to look at the gun and know if it's legal or not. I mean, that sounds like it makes sense on the face of it, but if you understand how rules get applied practically, that really doesn't matter. No, like, an RO doesn't need to be able to look at every gun and know if it's legal or not. Like, that's not really relevant because somebody around is going to know. And guys, if they have not legal guns, they will get called out for it eventually, and it will get sorted out. The same as DQing. Like, you don't have to know if a guy broke the 180 on that stage over there or not. It doesn't really matter because if he keeps up with that behavior, he's going to get popped eventually. You see what I mean? So if you understand how rules practically get applied, none of these issues are issues. These are issues in theory, but not really in practice. And, well, I mean, this is back when I was on speaking terms with Foley, like, he made it very clear he thought production was dumb. Very clear. So They don't like USPSA does not want to enforce production rules, so they've just systematically eliminated most of them, for better or worse, whether you like that or not. That's just what's happened.
Well, I think it's a bit of a disservice to keep messing with the rules also because
that doesn't matter. They don't care about that.
I know, but like, okay, real talk. Ben, I mean, like, well, speaking for me, I'm not going to change my gun due to some weight limit, but somebody else, maybe they think they need a new slide or they think they need to add weight or maybe they perceive a difference where like people are wasting a bunch of money, a bunch of time messing around with something or thinking they need to change their gear to be competitive. When the reality is, I mean, yeah, there's no difference, but yeah, it's a disservice to make people. I mean, people are going to change their equipment because they think they need to be competitive.
Some people will, yes. I think the weight limit is like at this point it's irrelevant. Like no one's going to get above a gun even close to that.
No.
They'd have to make
for carry optics though.
Carry optics is where it was. I think that's where the whole issue started. And to more align the rules, they did the 500 in carry optics, so they just put the 500 in production, number sold. And then they did the same thing with the weight. They upped the weight so much that you could put a brick and a sliding frame, like a barrel on a brick and shoot it and be legal.
Hey guys, look, I mean, the truth is, like, I'm telling you, like from the behind the scenes perspective, this is just the guys running USPSA are not interested in enforcing these rules. I know people that have submitted a gun for approval for production and basically get told to lie about the number that they've produced. Or basically it's made clear like, hey, you just signed this declaration that you got 2,000 of them in the US and we'll approve the gun for production, even though you just told me you don't. Like that kind of stuff. This has been going on for quite a while.
I think this is not the most interesting thing that came out of these board minutes, though.
I agree with you, Matt. Why don't you talk about the most interesting thing that came out of the board minutes?
So the most interesting thing to me is the number of classifiers shot or like scores shot in the divisions. So this year, carry optics had more participation than open, which is huge. Like it used to be limited open production, like in order. Now it's kind of flipped over the last 3 years where it's limited. Production was way down, and I expect that to be even lower.
Production's going to go way lower.
Production is, I would say at this point, essentially dead. Like it's going to have some hardcore shooters, but it's not going to have the success like it has in the past. Carry optics is going to be the number one division within the next 3 years.
That's 100%. How the trend. That's how the trends are looking for sure.
Yep. PCC's kind of stalled out a little bit. Well, Opens went down, productions went down, limited went down. Carry optics has grown by a large number. It will be the number 2 division, probably equal with limited for 2020.
Well, if you go back, you've got to be a little bit careful with the data that I saw. One bit of data they put out about who was shooting major and minor, and the thing that they had was, you know the graph I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know. I saw it.
It had like 40% of the guys in limited shooting minor or something.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, again, that's what I'm saying. Be careful when you look at that data, because there's people who participate at the club level. Oh man, I'm going to get a couple angry emails for this, but I would say that they're just kind of part of the landscape as far as larger USPSA is concerned. Like they don't go to major matches, don't participate seriously. I mean, those are the people that USPSA has geared this thing for. Don't get me wrong, but as far as the hardcore shooters, like that, the people who are kind of participate a little bit, they don't really matter to us, but they do. Like as far as numbers, at the club level, they do kind of skew things in a weird way, including shooting minor and limited.
I think that's everybody's first like entry division though. So.
Okay.
Like you first like come out to a match, you're going to come out with your Palmer frame 9mm double stack gun and have 3 magazines or 2 magazines, and they're going to say load up your mags and shoot limited minor.
Well, not only that, but then it's like, well, don't even worry about trying to memorize a stage plan. Just make sure you shoot all the targets.
And don't like shoot us.
Yeah.
Right.
Keep the gun downrange and the bullets going downrange, and that's about all we care about.
All right, guys, let me we're going to jump to a question because it'll feed this conversation, because we could just go ahead and just have the what would you do with the rules if you could do whatever you want thing. Okay? That sound fun?
Okay.
Yeah.
I apologize in advance if you've already addressed these questions on your podcast. Divisions of both IPSA and USPSA. Do you think that we have too many, just enough, or not enough divisions? I don't know. He has some predictions about who's shooting what that I don't really give a shit about. Okay. Equipment type. So he's talking about the equipment position type. Do you think that adhering to the practical idiom is still applicable in our sport, where the practicality of equipment in certain divisions has been arms raced to such a degree that it's fifth cousin twice removed from the concealed carry defensive type equipment from decades past? For example, the inclusion or exclusion of magnets, bullet-out mag pouches, magnetic-based mag pouches, double belts, open race holsters, etc. It seems nonsensical to enforce Appendix E2 positioning of equipment that I believe to have no practical use outside dynamic pistol shooting. Even IDPA's legal equipment is laughably non-practical. And my last question, aside from having a floor or a minimum power factor, why is this still a thing? Normalizing a single scoring system, pick one, major or minor, with a minimum power factor would simplify a number of issues that exist today. The safety nature of 9mm major, the reliability of 9mm major firearms, and some of the problems come to mind. I think it could possibly change the open and limited division landscapes dramatically. Okay. So there you go. I guess the easiest way to address it is, what would you do to the rules if you could do whatever you wanted?
I like making minor only.
You like that?
I like it. Yeah, why not?
Because shooting major requires more skill, and you are thus appropriately rewarded for shooting the heavier cartridge.
I say that's bullshit, because
you think it does not require more skill to handle a firearm that has heavier recoil.
Do you think it does?
Absolutely. That's why we don't do this with 22s.
Do you think that's a skill though?
Yes.
Yeah, because your grip you have to have a better grip for sure when you're shooting heavier calibers.
Yes, I think the power part of the if we did this with 22s or airsoft, which I would say are basically the same, I would not be interested at all, personally. That's just me. You can think what you want. Yes, I think shooting a heavier caliber is definitely tougher than shooting a lighter caliber, all things being equal.
Does it make sense now though?
Power factor and hit factor are essential.
It is still harder to shoot a heavier caliber, whether or not you would use that heavier caliber in a practical situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean,
with changes in bullet technology, a lot of law enforcement agencies have gone to 9mm in the last 5 years, led by the FBI, and I think that makes sense, but it still requires more skill to shoot a 40. In my opinion, it's still harder to do.
If you came up with this sport right now, would you say there would be two different power factors?
Well, that's an interesting question. I'm not sure if there'd be two or if you've had it graded on a scale. I probably would just say make it 9mm. If I came up with it today, it would just be a 9mm power floor.
And just
again, that would be what I would do today.
Yeah.
But having the power element measured is super important, I think.
I don't think so, because you're competing against the same power factor no matter what division you're doing.
I understand, but having the power factor measured, having there be a power factor is important. It doesn't have to be two power factors. I'm saying having a power requirement makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but you can pick whatever that is. You say it's 130.
Right, but you'd have to have something. You won't.
Yeah, you would have a minimum. You would have a minimum. I'm still fine with that. But
and
power factors don't make a lot of sense.
Well, no, it still makes sense. It's still hey, if you have more skill and want to shoot a heavier caliber, then you get rewarded for that. Now, as far as what that power factor should be and what the reward should be, I mean, I guess that's sort of arbitrary, but the whole thing's arbitrary on some level. But I mean, I get it. You're saying major kind of doesn't make much sense. Shooting major doesn't make much sense, right?
Yeah.
From a practical standpoint. And I agree with you.
Yeah, outside of USPSA, there's no reason to shoot that.
from a practicality standpoint, that makes sense. But, it does make sense to reward power. So, well, so what would you do with, would you smoke any divisions? Do we have too many, too few, or the right amount of divisions?
Well, Lemon 10 would be gone no matter what. And if you think that should stay, you are absolutely wrong.
Well, USPSA management's like any other management for a big organization. They'll do the things that are easy that make people happy, but they don't do the hard things that piss people off a little bit. And if you want to they won't get rid of Lim 10 because that pisses people off a little bit. It pisses off a few people a little bit. Who I would be happy with them pounding sand. Why not? No, I mean, if you want to quit USPSA because we don't recognize Lim 10, I don't know. See ya. Not really.
I think that's the only division that really has to go. I think PCC should be separated out.
Revolver's got to go.
Why?
Revolver. Because nobody shoots it and it's stupid and it's not relevant.
Well, it's not hurting anything though.
It is. How? Yes, it is. How? I've actually brought my thinking around a lot on this.
How is it hurting?
I used to not care, but now I actually think it's it should go. Really, and it is harmful.
How's it harmful?
Because it's not an achievement. Yes, it does. It's not an achievement worthy of recognition. That's how it's harmful. And recognizing stuff that's not worthy of recognition harms the organization. It harms the USPSA brand.
I can see that, but I don't think it hurt.
How about
a minimum
this?
number of people.
Matt,
if there's not 30 or 40 people competing,
let me explain it to you this way. Let me just explain it to you in a way that you'll get. So let's say that back in the days when IDPA was a lot more viable and popular.
Yeah.
Back in those days, 2009 IDPA national champion.
Yeah.
Okay. Now IDPA over the course of time dilutes it down, adds more divisions, adds in stupid rules, changes things. And they've kind of done what they've done now, which is kind of run the sport organization, run that thing into the ground to the point where we don't even talk about it anymore because it's so irrelevant.
Yeah.
You with me so far?
Yeah, I agree.
Now 2009 IDPA national champion or whatever, 1999 national champion for 20 years ago. You did this thing, and now that achievement, when you're hey, IDPA national champion 20 years ago, people are like, IDPA, no one gives a fuck about that. So now your achievement's been diminished by IDPA fucking their organization over. Mm. So, would you not agree with that? I will say this, every single time at some area match where 8 people show up and shoot revolver and they hand out a high revolver champion, plaque or whatever.
Yeah.
It's it's hurting us. Not very much, but it hurts. It diminishes the whole thing.
I'm an area champion. You know that, right?
Really? In revolver?
Yeah. No, not revolver.
Oh. L10?
L10.
Well, there. So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Let's have a little question here. Was a Shadow 2 production legal at the time?
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. All right. Then your trophy is acceptable, sir.
I'm the one manufacturer in the country that stuck to the 2000 rule and didn't submit early like everybody else.
Everybody else has no problem. And USPSA is not interested in enforcing those rules. As
correct.
We're just discussing. Yeah. So so revolver can go, Lim 10 can go as far as I'm concerned. And PCC above level 2 split off, you're saying, Matt? Or level 2?
Above level 1.
Okay, off. So level 2 and above split off. I think that would be pretty contentious, but I mean that's because there's PCC shooters that would be contentious about that. They'd be like, "You telling us what to shoot, Matt? You telling us what to shoot?
You can still shoot them." But a stage setup for a PCC is drastically different than a stage setup for a handgun. The shots are different. The courses are different. Everything is different. If you're designing a PCC only stage versus a handgun only stage.
I agree with you.
And if you combine them, you have to take there are pluses and minuses of both. So you can't set up something and be fuck the PCC guys, because then they couldn't do it. Or the other way around, you shoot a fucking 50-yard headshot. PCC guy, handgun guys, You're gonna hear some fucking bitching about that.
Some bitching. It would be past bitching. It's like you understand the people here at this match not capable of making the shot.
Yeah,
like,
if I saw a 50-yard headshot, I'd be like, boom, boom, and just say fuck it.
Yeah, send two into the dirt and roll.
Like 20 splits on that motherfucker and take 2 mics and be like, well, that's like a fucking no penalty mic out there. This stage is now worth 30 less points than what it actually is worth.
Well, yeah. So, a good way to explain this is if you think that like PCC on a pistol stage is an important and relevant test of shooting skill, like we just don't see the world the same way. I don't know what to tell you.
No, I agree with that.
Now, I'm not saying it's not fun, for one, because I get those emails. Like, if it's fun to you, it's fun. Like, I'm not telling you what's fun. And the other thing is, if you want to win at PCC, you got to be really good, because there's a few guys that are really good and really train at it. Yeah. You still have to be good. However, it just doesn't.
That's just like winning a revolver, dude. If you can't just strap on a revolver and go out and expect to win the nationals, dude. You'll get fucking hard. Put at 55%.
Yeah, dude,
like,
you're gonna get
the dudes that win that, like that's all they do.
Yes, I mean that's unfortunate for them that they train to do a stupid thing, but I can't help that. It's okay. So we'd be smoking a couple divisions. And what about single stack?
I think if you truly made it single stack and let the high points and the single stack SIGs and all that shit compete in it and not just the 1911s, I think it would be more viable. But I'm okay with keeping that.
I think that one's on the bubble. And after you smoke the other two, like I think things might shake out a little differently.
You think more people would shoot it?
Maybe, yeah. You know what I think kind of hurts it? I'm going to be real with you. I think the major minor thing hurts single stack.
Why? You think if it was major only, it would be different?
Well, it's put in a really weird situation now where it's not really clear what the equipment to use is. It just depends on the stage design, right? Now they set up the nationals. They set up the nationals for a major, but other matches not so much, and it's weird. It is weird. So
yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know. So I don't know. That's a strange thing to me. Joel, you're not getting too jumpy about this. You don't like it.
Honestly, it doesn't really it doesn't make me lose sleep. I looked it over and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Well, how about this, Joel? This will make you lose some sleep. You want to know what I would do, like for the other divisions?
Oh boy, tell me.
Maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't. I don't really know. So production, I'd go to 15.
Okay.
I think that's dumb.
Why?
It being 10 round only,
it's limited minor. But okay, just continue with your thought.
No, the 15 is closer to limited minor.
It is.
The 10 round magazine capacity distinguishes that division away from every other division.
I know.
By a lot.
Well,
except for from single stack.
Well, okay.
Well, look. Here's the problem, guys. The way stages are being set up these days, it's made things are just not set up for a low cap at all. To where it's like I think stages have moved even more towards shooting all the time. So I find myself either shooting or loading all the time with not much running most of the time.
And you can't blend positions as well. I understand.
Right. Well, I mean, just for that, just because of the way stages are, a lot of people have moved out of the low cap divisions for that reason. Now, I could sit here and bang the same old drum about better stage design, more diverse stages, this and that, same old bullshit. But there's two things I want to say. One, it's way easier just to make production 15. And two, the most fun I have doing practical shooting anywhere is European style stages with 15 round production. For whatever reason, that's the most fun to me. It feels the most balanced, feels the most fair. That's the most fun I've had. What do you say about that, Matt?
I don't know. I still think production,
hey,
one of the foundation legs of the if there was 3 things that distinguish production, the 10 round
minor and factory guns. Yeah.
Yes, those are the 3.
Those are the 3, and I like those things. But we go shoot IPSC with 15.
Yeah, I know, but it's not that much different.
Well, I think you just said production's dead, right?
It's dying. It's on the down. It's bleeding out right now.
If you put it to 15, that'll be made better, not worse. If that's something you're interested in.
Yeah, I can see where a higher capacity would maybe bring some life back.
There's one other thing I would do.
Before we move on.
So we're essentially going to have. Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
But I was trying to find the year, but I'm not finding it fast enough on Google. Most people would not remember this. You guys have probably been around long enough. Remember the assault weapons ban?
Yeah, 94 to 04.
Well,
Yeah,
it
it came out during the assault weapons ban. That's why it was 10.
So that is why
Same as
production.
Lim 10.
Yes. Production is
Right.
10 round because of the assault weapons ban, and you couldn't get high cap mags. And if you
Right.
did, like Glock 17 high cap mags were like $100, whatever. So
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
that was the reason production was originally 10. So I understand the reason for wanting to revisit it since that ban has.
I mean, this is not even really based on my particular wants and desires. Like, I'm obviously not really happy with the direction things have gone the last 5 years as far as the division rules, or basically making production like that's what attracted me to the sport. I showed up with a factory Beretta and was shooting that competitively in matches and having a fucking blast. And I don't know, maybe you could still do that, but certainly the perception is that you can't more than it's ever been.
I mean,
it's not great. So anyway,
I think that's probably the worst thing about the rule changes lately, where you can't show up with
Matt.
a. Huh?
I'm gonna walk this back a little bit. I'm gonna take this a direction you may not like. So to square things up, yeah, people are gonna like this. Well, USPSA just did this actually by removing the weight limit in CO. So the weight limit in CO should honestly piss people off because a lot of people cut up a lot of guns that they didn't have to cut up for an arbitrary, stupid weight limit. That made no sense. Agreed with me, Matt?
The only thing I can say to that, a lot of people spend a lot of money to make guns that should be legal because they were on the production list for their fucking dumb weight.
Yeah,
but
for the dumb weight.
It does. The new limit
and
doesn't.
There's a lot of guys
limit,
shooting those slides, and the slides cracked because of how they were cut. I had
that's
at
on
least.
The.
Well, who is? I mean, okay, we know who that's. Yeah, sure, that's on the guy that did the milling, but you know that in the spectrum of human behavior, if there's anybody like people will fuck up milling, and the reason they were milling it is for that reason.
Yes, I agree.
And it was just like this whole dumb situation was created for this arbitrary weight limit. Anyway, I would make CO 15 as well. So all those those cut slides, like we can throw those dumb. I think the 140 millimeter base pads are dumb. All that does to me is like I just have to buy more of those dumb things to shoot CO.
That's the only thing I hate about it. Like you have to work on mags now. It sucks.
Makes no sense. And now, like,
I'd actually be okay with dropping that down.
Get rid of it. Make it 15. And I know that Foley will say that range officers can't count, and I'll say no, they can't. But they don't have to because, again, the trying to cheat by stuffing extra rounds in your magazine is literally the dumbest thing you can do. Because if you get caught doing that, like the consequence is pretty severe. You go open. So yeah. So bear with me now, Matt. There's one other thing I would add in that would piss people off, but it'd be easy. It'd be easy, and it'd be a good way to kind of counterbalance the changes.
Trigger
and easy
pull
to
weight.
trigger pull weight. So I'd put that in CO and production.
I don't have a problem with that.
I know you don't have a problem with that because you're old school, but
I
so instead of having the ROs, not
like a mile-long list of approved parts that you can change.
Okay, fine. Like just had like it passes like the fail safe is the trigger pull gauge. Like you make your you make your trigger stupid, then you can fuck off out of here. And all people have to do to kind of walk back their trigger job is install a slightly different spring. It'd be easy.
Yep.
So that would be what I would do right now if I had my druthers. Like revolver.
I like some of that. I don't think changing 10 rounds.
Let me tell you, Matt, I don't like that. I'm not sitting here like, oh, we got to shoot like production. It's got to be 15 or it's gay. Like that's not me. That's not how I feel about it. I mean, I've shot 10 round production forever and I like it. But I'm telling you, the way the stages are going, and it's just not as much fun as it should be, mostly because of the way the stages are designed.
I think that's one of the unique things about production, like trying to figure that out
It's
in
not
that
unique.
division.
You do a single stack and revolver too.
Yeah, but
And it's not
we're
even
gonna
like
kill
to
those
me.
divisions.
And
So.
I'm being honest, it's not even a figure it out thing for me. It's not about I can figure out the plans. I'm just like, oh, okay, like, you know, the stages are just not they're not as much fun. Quite honestly, you really don't have as many choices on
No,
that
you
stuff.
don't. I agree with that.
So, what do you think, Joel? What do you think of my proposed changes?
That's interesting.
Well, I mean, like, I'm not saying I like where we are, but that seems like the easiest way out, or the easiest way forward.
Yeah. Well, like you said, I mean, nobody wants to smoke a division, but I
do
feel
I
bad.
smoke. I do. I want to smoke at least 2.
Okay. Well, I do feel bad for the carry optics dudes, because you pay all that extra money to get your slide chopped up. You sacrifice rigidity, whatever. You end up breaking stuff, or you end up
That's
paying just.
squarely on the administration, though.
I know.
They could have fixed this right away. They
Fixed
didn't.
it. They created it right away.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think they didn't anticipate how much could be done with milling.
Well, they had.
Well, I know
blinders
they were wrong, but of course, I mean, yes, the law of unanticipated consequences is alive and well.
But the only good thing about it is all that stuff is still legal in carry optics, so it's good to use tilt brakes.
Yeah.
And then we'll have stock stuff you can buy at that point.
Right. And I'll go one further, guys. I don't like that minor is even an option that's listed for open and limited. I don't like it, but I mean, I get that it's an option and should be, but I don't
Major
like
or nothing.
I don't know. I mean, you're kind of dumb to shoot minor and
Yeah, but that would make it interesting. Like if you don't make power factor, you shoot for no score. Just like minor. You don't make minor, no score.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, like major does appropriately reward a guy shooting with more skill. Now, what I'll say is,
I like that.
Like in practice, I find shooting major to be like it takes a lot of shooting challenges that require finesse and skill, shooting minor, and it makes you just like it makes those challenges not challenges. Like partial targets are so much easier shooting major. It's ridiculous. But whatever. I mean, that's a stage. Again, there's nothing wrong with the scoring that you can't fix with stage design. But trying to get changes in stage design would be way more complicated than rule changes. Now, I'm not saying I would do anything. I don't even like that it's listed as an option because some dum-dums think that minor is a viable option. I've met guys that come to USPSA and they just look at the divisions as a menu. And they just pick the one off the menu that they personally like the most. And I've seen guys shoot like limited 10 minor thinking that they're going to, well, it doesn't make any sense to you, but if you're picking off, you would, if you don't know, like all the divisions are equally attended as far as you're concerned, and major and minor are equal because, the theory would be there's more recoil over here, but you get more points. And this one over here is easier to shoot. So they're equal. So I'll just shoot the thing that I like the most. Or what, yeah, if you don't know anything, that makes sense on some level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of doing people a disservice even having that. But
I like the major or nothing or no score. That would be interesting.
That would, well, yeah, but it would take away people shooting minor at the club level and limited.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's not going to change the division winner. All it would do is just change casual participation.
Okay, level 2 and up. Level 2 and up. Major or no score.
Yeah, but then why have it? Like why have that rule? It just be, hey, if you don't make major, you just take this penalty that's going to take you out of the match anyway, which is shooting minor.
I guess.
So,
yeah.
Again, I don't know if I'd change it, but I don't like it.
I think we should fucking fix poppers.
They're not. USPSA can't fix poppers, bro.
Why not?
Because you want me to be honest with the answer? If you actually fix it, if you just go in there and delete popper calibration as a procedure,
yeah,
then what happens? Like popper calibration is just not a thing anymore.
People would set the poppers to fall down.
Well, maybe, but like, so imagine like a guy hits a popper, like he shoots in the calibration circle and then leaves, and at the end of the stage that thing's standing, and now the range officers have to make like a judgment call about what to do.
Yeah.
Maybe potentially there's a judgment call. Or let's say a guy shoots a popper.
Get all those bright minds in a group and say, is that hit good? Yes or no?
or a guy shoots a popper and it's not fallen, and he transitions back onto it like 3 seconds later and hits it again, and then it falls. Imagine anarchy. What would they do?
Do what's like common sense, right?
Right. Well, here's the thing. USPSA, as an organization, doesn't think the range officers can count to 15.
Well, they've said that publicly.
They've said that. So these same minds, obviously, they don't think that you can look at a malfunctioning popper and use your brain. If you're a range officer, they don't think you can like figure that out. That's the issue. They think the range officers are dumb. I'm telling you, 100%.
No, I understand
that's driving
that,
these
but
rule
like,
changes.
But you can't just have drones out there running the fucking shooters. Like,
not only can you not have that, you shouldn't have that. And if you can't count to 15, you should not be participating in practical shooting as a competitor or a range officer. I'm going to be honest. This thing isn't for everybody.
this is the quietest Joel's ever been.
No, he's very uncomfortable with the things I'm saying right now.
I got nothing.
So, yeah, but then if someone like wants to argue, well, that's halfway in the calibration zone, or that should be good enough to hit it. Like,
right. Then you need, hold on, wait for it, a range officer to make a judgment call, which USPSA doesn't think they can do. So there we are.
Well, what if you had a range officer that was maybe a little more experienced that could be consulted at the time
I don't
that
think
it's
you
happening?
need experience. Oh, you mean the range master?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
we already have that?
Right. So hold on.
Okay.
Do you know what? Want to know what one of the mantras of range masters that typically aren't very good? See, some range masters are good and some of them aren't. The ones that aren't good live by one rule. You want to know the rule?
Tell me.
Hold on. Is it like getting shooters through the courses of fire?
No. It starts with a B and it ends with an ACURO.
Huh?
Yeah.
ACURO.
Oh, yeah.
That is the mark of it. That is the mark of a bad range master.
Back the RO?
Yeah.
Like, no matter what they say is good?
Back the RO. Got to back your ROs. See, when you talk to a range master, usually you want like an impartial person to like take a fresh look at a situation and kind of hear what everyone has to say and then make reasonable decisions based on common sense and the rules, competitive equity and all that. If you have a range officer or range master that all they think about, gotta back my ROs, then it's like, fuck, we are not getting it.
They wouldn't really be listening to what you're saying. Yeah, I understand.
No, I remember a few years ago, I had a real bad interaction with a range master that on my end started off very positively. I went, hey, this is the issue, blah, blah, blah. I don't you know what, one of the first thing out of his mouth, he's like, well, I'm going to back my ROs. And I was just looking at him and go, yeah, I haven't talked to them yet. So I don't know if you're going to do that. But yes, that one was just like, whoop, this is going to go south. And sure enough, I was right. Anyway, yes. So this is what management thinks of the range officers and the shooters. So not much can be done about that. Okay. So any other changes you make? Joel, what would you change?
Motivational speaking with Ben.
I'm motivated. I'm empowered. Hey, range officers, I don't think you're dumb. I think you can count to 15, and I think you can look at a popper that's not working right and be reasonable and fix the situation. That's what I think. I mean, I'm wrong about some of them. Some of them suck, but I think most of them are okay. Whose doorbell was that?
That was mine. Lane's here.
You have somebody there? You have a guy at your door for what we're doing the podcast right now.
I know.
This is fucked
Did he
up.
get his
Joel.
hand fixed?
No. You want to see? I just messaged him, told him to come in. No, he's coming over for a holster. So Lane would like me putting his business on the internet. So he was we were at a local match Sunday. A guy had a round got stuck in the chamber. He went to hit the back of his hand on like the beaver tail to clear it, or to hit on the back of the grip. Instead, he hit the beaver tail, which like punctured his hand, cut him wide open, a bunch of stitches. Hey, hello, we're podcasting. And so now he's learning how to shoot left-handed. So he's coming over to get a left-handed holster.
Oh my gosh. For Shadow 2 or what?
No, Glock.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's a real bummer. Should we
So
move on?
nothing else we would change.
For me, there's not. I don't think anything else really needs changing.
I would change it to where they have to recognize the top 16 again at nationals,
Oh, I'm with you on that. Actually, I would like that to be a good change.
which they still can do. All they're doing now is following the rules to a T. It doesn't say that they can afford.
I know
avoid
this
that,
was,
and they absolutely can afford it.
as soon as Foley got elected, he stopped doing it because he didn't
Yes.
like it.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. I mean, whatever. Should we do another question, guys?
No
Maybe
other rules.
No other rules that we change?
There's no other rules.
Here, it's on the side.
I mean, other rules or equipment rules?
We got to let Lane answer the question. Lane.
Sorry.
Oh my God.
All right.
Lane, what rules would you change in USPSA?
Oh, hold on. He's still getting situated.
What was that?
Lane, what rules would you change in USPSA? We already killed all the divisions. We took popper
did.
calibration out, and we added back the top 16.
Oh, geez, put me on the spot there. Well, I just saw the new board of directors stuff in regards to production and carry optics, so I guess I would just leave carry optics as an actual carry gun instead of a 56, 54 ounce monstrosity.
It's,
of a gun.
sorry, it's 59 ounces. 59.
Oh, okay, sorry.
How dare you?
Even better.
How many pounds is that? Go ahead. I'm just doing
Not
math.
quite 4.
Hey, show them your hand, by the way.
3.7 pounds.
Oh, yeah. Where's your camera at? Oh, yeah, I got some.
Jeez, dude.
That's a pretty reasonable size for a gun.
But yeah, like
3-pound carry gun. That's with an empty mag.
that's almost 4 pounds. Yeah.
It's going to be over 4 with a full mag.
What are you, pussy? You can't carry a 3-pound gun.
How dare you?
Okay, well, see, Lane doesn't really.
So Lane wants carry optics light is what that sounds like.
Yeah, COL.
Yeah, I guess if you're gonna call it carry optics, I feel like the carry part of it is relevant. You know, like make it things that people would actually carry.
But we can't use appendix holsters.
Well, now you're just talking madness there, but
Well, bang up. Okay, we're gonna hit another question, and this one's gonna go to Joel first.
Oh boy.
No, it's okay, Joel. It's about sexual harassment at.
Oh my God.
No, I'm just messing with you, dude. No, it's nothing crazy. I'm kidding. I wasn't. Let's talk about Joel Park getting Me Too'd at his club match. All right. What is your take on the newest classifiers, the 19 series? Do you like that they are similar to a small field course or not? Do you think it presents more of an all-around shooting scenario versus the older classifiers that are pretty much stationary shooting with a required mandatory reload or single-hand shooting? Would you prefer to see more classifiers similar to these? Do you think it may weed out some people who are looking for paper classifications because it requires a little bit of stage planning? What do you say, guys?
First, I should start off internet. This is Lane Grease. Lane's is one of the local guys to
Stop
my
stalling. Stop
club.
stalling.
I don't need to. Lane's a GM. He's very, very good. Anyway, I like the new classifier series. I think it is a move in the right direction because the only downside to it is setup, I suppose, because it does take a little bit more to set up, like time involved in all the measurement. But overall, I think it's moving in the right direction because it has more of the aspects that you would use in a field course as opposed to just stand in one spot, bang on some close targets really fast, slam a fast reload, and then bang on more targets really fast. So I like them. I think it's a move in the right direction. And I think they should continue that.
Yeah. Virginia count's kind of dumb, I think. So.
Virginia count needs to go away. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you say, Matt?
I agree. And I think they should change that 18 classifier that is like a field course that they made fucking Virginia count, which is so dumb.
Yeah. That was stupid.
That was so stupid.
Listen, Matt, they make sure you count on those stages, but
Dude, like, why even have it at that point? I don't get it. The setup's not that hard on these. The one where you have to all the angles and stuff, that's the hard one. But the other two are pretty simple.
Yeah.
All right.
Or other three, I guess.
Joel likes them?
Yeah. I think it's a move in the right direction.
All right. Well, it's a good time to wrap it up. Thank you, Joel, for being positive, because you were real negative the whole time. Thank you.
I can't help it. That's just
You
how
said
I am.
3 words the whole time.
Well, I know that was his way.
Lane
of,
said more than
staying out of
Joel did,
trouble.
right? And he was there for 5 minutes.
Listen, Joel's a nice guy. He's pathologically nice, so don't hold it against him. All right, let's talk about some business stuff. Courses I have coming up in California at the Linden Range. There's still some openings. March 22nd or 23rd, 24th for a skills and drills class. It's not going to have many people in it, so that'll be good if you want a smaller group. So that's Linden, California, March 23rd and 24th. Go to bensteger.com. Click on Take a Course if you want to sign up or see the full course list. Match Mentality, the new book from Joel Park, is now live on Amazon. It is coming to digital download at some point.
It is in the works. It is being worked on currently.
It's happening, yeah. And what else? If you want to see more of Joel talking crazy, you can join Practical Shooting Training Group at practicalshootingtraininggroup.com. At this point, there's hundreds of instructional videos, and yeah, there's a lot on there. So
honestly, I spent the best. Yeah, I mean, I spent 2.5 hours of my day-to-day watching a new video. Well, that hasn't even been posted yet, but I mean, you could spend as much time as you want to. There are hundreds and hundreds of hours of content for, like what you said, Matt, match talk-throughs, or maybe like I read a drill in a book. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess. But then watching a video of an instructor doing the drill and explaining the drill and what to look for, that's really good. And then just like technique videos, and there's just a lot of content. And then, like you said, also the feedback. So a person, like a shooter, submits a video like, hey, I did this at this match. What do you think about it? And then Ben or Kim, like if you watch, I don't watch sports, but if you watch like football where they're scribbling on the TV and showing you arrows for which ways guys go, it's like that, but while they're shooting a stage. So it's like, hey, maybe you should think about moving the gun this direction, or this is the way the gun's recoiling, or talking about your stage strategy. So anyway, lots of helpful things to think about there also. Even if you're not the one being critiqued, you could still
Joel,
learn.
If you had to pick one of the 3 resources, Training Group, the new book from Joel Park, available on Amazon, or a skills and drills class in California with me, which one do you like?
You want to know the truth?
Yeah, I do.
Training Group, hands down.
It is good. It is good.
Hands down, because there's more
Joel,
material there than you can digest.
There was no wrong answer. Because
Go
all of them are good for me, so I don't really give a shit which one you said.
This is very true.
All right, that'll wrap it up for the podcast. Thank you guys so much for coming on, Matt and Lane, especially. Joel, not as much. And that's it. If you have any questions, send them in, fuckers.